Still on Nation Live. It's your boy Sanders Tisdale.
And I'm James Owen.
Guys, we got a lot to talk about. Huge win in Cincy. The Steelers did it again, upsetting. We did it last year to Buffalo, and we're going to do it again this year. But it's a new year, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are starting again, James, causing havoc.
That's right, Sanders. And we got a lot of updates, a lot of stats, a lot of stuff going on. Also, we have some boxing highlights. We'll talk about that later in the show. Also, coming out with a big win. We got some big losses because of that big win. And hopefully we could overcome those losses. Next man up, step up. And hopefully the TJ Watt injury is not as bad as we thought it was going to be, Sanders.
All right. Guys, stay tuned. Next up on Still a Nation Live.
Audio Jungle.
Hey guys, welcome back to Still a Nation Live. Again, it's your boy Sanders Tisdale.
James Owen.
The Steelers did it. All the naysayers out there who said Pittsburgh couldn't do it, James, they went inside the jungle, came out there, and like the Bengals fans always say, James, who that? Who they?
We know who they are. They the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll say it right now. You go into the game, playing the game. Nothing fancy. Get the job done. Do the work. And usually the outcome is going to be a win for your team. And we talked about this, Sanders. Statistically, we're not going to go really into, numbers, games per se, because we don't want to bore people. Numbers are numbers. But when you look statistically at one side of the ball, Steelers sacked Burrow 7 times, forced 5 turnovers. We didn't cough up the ball once. And you would think that that's a victory right there. 7 sacks, 5 turnovers. It sounds like an automatic win. But then you look over on the Cincinnati side of the ball, their stats, well, they had like 96 plays. They had held the ball for over 45 minutes. They had, 30-something first downs compared to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 13 first downs. And the penalties against Pittsburgh Steelers, they had 8 penalties on Pittsburgh, only 4 for Cincy. You look at those stats, look at the score, you would think that Cincy won that game. So it's a lot of misleading with the stats. You got to go in there. You got to play 60 minutes, Sanders. We talked about this for years till we're blue in the face. And for the first 30 minutes, you look at the score, Pittsburgh Steelers were dominating this game. The Cincinnati Bengals did not know what hit them. Burrow was so confused. The pressure that was placed upon him was something that he hasn't faced since the Super Bowl and a couple of games last year. So when you throw that into the mix there, folks at home, it's a recipe for disaster. And in the Steelers defense, we got Minka, pick 6. We'll talk about that later. His stats: he had 14 tackles, a pick 6, a blocked field goal attempt. We're going to talk about that later with the statistics and that word karma coming around. And we talked about this offline, Sanders, about the last drive of the Cincinnati Bengals that stuttered and stopped many times. The game should have been over. They shouldn't even had the ability to tie this game. But and it's all you Steeler fans out there, exactly what I'm talking about. The Pittsburgh Steelers always get screwed on any kind of play or whatever. And I guess there's fans out there saying the same thing about their team as well. But it just seems when you're deep in the Pittsburgh Steelers that when you're more into it, so you're more apparent of what's going on as far as this call and that call. And you know what? We thought karma came back and bit the Bengals with a blocked field goal. So then we go into overtime, Sanders.
Yeah. It was just phenomenal to watch, because you look at it this way. It was a great matchup between the Steelers coming into the Bengals. They always had historic battles, but the thing about it was the Bengals were poised to destroy the Steelers. The Bengals was supposed to be the better team. The Bengals had a head coach, a young head coach coming in. Pittsburgh was supposed to, bow down to these guys. The lonely Steelers coming in with Mitch Trubisky, the young quarterback there, Burrow. And what did the Steelers do? Remember last year, they killed us on all aspects. All aspects, guys. You had everybody. They were running on us. They had the total package going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what did the Pittsburgh Steelers do? You know what they said this year? It's a different ball game. The Steelers winning in Cincinnati, played on all levels. And what did everyone say? They say who they? We say the Steelers. We who they. The
Yeah.
Steelers went in there, took control of this game, and took control of the Cincinnati Bengals, and they did it early, James. That was the thing about it. Like last time we talked about before this game, the Steelers did it the right way. Harass the passer. Brady lost to the New York Giants many times because what? The Giants put up front pressure. The Steelers did just that to Burrow. Up front pressure. Burrow basically just threw the ball away. And what happened? Minka picked six. And the Steelers did it in fine fashion, took control, jumped on it late, changed the whole mode of that game, James, early on. And they did it where enough to where that was somewhat of the difference. And the fact that the Steelers defensive front kept the harassment going the whole game, James.
Yeah, I don't understand the coaching scheme of the Cincinnati Bengals. When you go and you're playing a team that averages the defenses last year was the worst in rush defense, who gives up an average of 6.1, 6.7 yards per carry, and you got the rushing attack like the Cincinnati Bengals. They have a very decent offensive line. Pass protection, it's mediocre but good. It got the job done. They made it to the Super Bowl, big deal. But when you're playing a team who can't stop the run, why are you going to throw the ball? Okay, with that being said, now when you're throwing the ball and you're either getting sacked or you're throwing interceptions, why not go to the run? I don't understand. I mean, it's not rocket science. If you're playing against a team who has great pass coverage, you're not going to pass the ball, correct? But if they have weak pass coverage, you're going to light them up all day. You know, because there's multiple offensive schemes you can do. You can do play action all day. You could do screens. You could do halfback tosses. Anything to disrupt the defense. But why would you not attack the Steelers immediately rushing? And when they did run the ball, they ran it effectively. And I just don't get. I'm glad that they didn't. I'm not gonna, say I wish they would have. But I mean, when you look at the scheme of your game plan going into, don't these people understand who they're playing? I mean, don't they do any check the history and how the team operates, their weaknesses and their strengths? Why not go at their weaknesses, Sanders?
Yeah, I didn't get it at all. And the thing about it was the Bengals could find no way out of it, and they got a huge task this week coming up for the Bengals. They playing, I believe they're playing the Dallas Cowboys this week coming up. And the Dallas Cowboys, yeah, they got their issues, but believe me, they're trying to prove people wrong, just like the Steelers did. So they got a rough task this week. But the fact is, when you get down to it and you talk about it playing on another, is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Like I said, James, a squad that's fired up, a squad that's going out there and showing that, you know what, we'll take control of games. If the offense can't do it, we'll do it. We got a quarterback right now that's got issues, but you know what's going on? The Steelers are doing it, brother. The defense is taking control of games. And speaking of the fact of our quarterback situation with Mitch Trubisky, I don't know, James. Like I said, I still think Mitch needs to start. I think Mitch, they did the right thing going out there to get a quarterback that can at least not turn over the ball. Now, let's think about it. Mitch didn't have the best game, but Mitch didn't do the things to hurt us.
Right.
That's the things that matter.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Sanders. I mean, he did things to get the job done. It's a win. All right. We can build off this win. Didn't give the ball up. Didn't make stupid plays. Didn't turn the ball over. That's great. But we're seeing the same predictability. I got it out. Predictability on the offense. And it's, when are you going to let these guys open up? I mean, it's so, I don't like to use the term dummy down, but it's so plain, just to get by. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do, I mean, the most vanilla offense you can possibly do. And it worked. Not by much. You need to develop off of that, because if you look at the previous seasons with Roethlisberger and now with Trubisky, it almost looks as if the same quarterback is back there. However, Trubisky isn't throwing the interceptions. One game, I know he didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't throw any bad, to bad coverage or whatnot. He kept us in the game. He was very mobile. He did the right thing. But however, it just, at the end of the day, you look at the statistics we didn't even have 300 yards offense. The running game, non-existent. So what can the Pittsburgh Steelers do offensively, Sanders, to open this up? Now, if you think about it, the number one receiver on the Steelers versus Bengals was Freiermuth, which he should be. Number two, the main rusher for the Pittsburgh Steelers wasn't Najee. It wasn't Jalen Warren. It wasn't Benny Snell. It was Claypool. He's a wide receiver. And when you look at that, you got to say, what is going on here? Why are we using wide receivers to run the ball? Why are we using our tight end as our main wide receiver? Last time I checked, Deontay Johnson was the number one wide receiver. He made a couple spectacular catches, balls that were thrown that had to be placed where they were placed, or else they would have been intercepted. So I get it. And you have to have that respect for your quarterback and vice versa with your wide receiver, because you're not going to make these plays. But as fans of the Pittsburgh Steelers and fans out there, folks, call in, please, 585-210-3917. Let's hear your input. Let's hear your take. Call us in. Let us know your thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they're looking so far. Yeah, we got to win. It's better than a loss. But is it really? I mean, when you're showing the same offensive style as last year that didn't get you anywhere, we backed into the playoffs. When is it going to change? I'm frustrated. I'm pretty sure you're frustrated out there. Call in 585-210-3917. Very frustrating. We have all this talent on this team, but it doesn't seem to be adding up. Like over $70 million to revamp that offensive line that looks even worse from last year. And what is going on? We have to start looking upwards. We all know that it all rolls downhill, but it's got to start at the top. Why is just getting by good enough? It's not for me. And folks at home, I know it's not good for you either, because it gets frustrating. Yeah, we won. But really, did we? I mean, we're just one interception away from a loss, an extra point away from a loss, a fumble away from a loss. We didn't turn the ball over. Once you start throwing those turnovers, then we are not going to win many games. And granted, it was the Cincinnati Bengals who made it to the Super Bowl. I got it. They didn't get there for no reason. I got it. But if you want to excel in this league, you just can't not do just to do. You have to work things out and make things better. And I didn't see any play action. Sanders, did you?
Nope.
I didn't see any screens. Did you?
Not one.
We did a couple. We did that trick play that worked, I guess. And we do those sweeps, the jet sweeps. I mean, that gets old after a while. Teams learn formations. If good defensive teams learn formations, and they know it's coming. So this trickery and tomfoolery, yeah, it's the first game of the season. Nobody expects it, but I'll tell you what, try that stuff next game or the game down the road. People are going to be ready for it. You have to open up your offense, and how you do that with screens, because the offensive line is not blocking. Let them come in, throw a screen. You're going to stop that rush. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that way you can open up the throwing lanes to your tight ends. Zach Gentry came up huge with a nice long play. Get them more involved in the play, and just don't use Freiermuth as that escape route, because you have other wide receivers. You have Claypool, you have Deontay Johnson, and that new guy Pickens.
Yeah. But that's one thing right there that was kind of a sore subject with Pickens. The fact is that Pickens, and a lot of the guys out there who watch the game, who are down on the field, who really, really study the hardcore parts of the game, they all agree that Pickens was wide open. Pickens was wide open on a lot of plays. Now, is it the fact of the way the Steelers were running the offense, or that they were basically trying to keep Mitch Trubisky in this kind of tapered down world, or whatever, where they just didn't want him to air the ball out, or what it is? Right now, you got to wake up. Pittsburgh's in a rebuilding year. Pittsburgh's in a year where they're trying to get better. I'm not expecting the playoffs. And if any of you guys are expecting the playoffs, well, hey, good for you. I mean, I love the black and gold. But the fact is, I just want them to be competitive.
Yeah.
And if they can do that and get better at the same time, it is what it is. But you got to give Trubisky a fair chance. Take the leash off that's so hard on him. Let him go out. Let him play. You got who you gonna go to? The rest of the guys are just as inexperienced as he is. So, and he's the veteran, basically. Well, besides Rudolph is somewhat of the veteran of the most experienced of all of them playing, I guess. Well, yeah. And the fact is that what are you gonna do? You got to take the leash off, let the man play. I believe Trubisky can be productive, and I believe Trubisky can add a great add to the Steelers because, as you can see, it was Trubisky who actually kept us in the game late, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, no matter which way you look at it, the defense did their thing to keep us in the game. They kept us in the whole entirety of the game. Yes, Trubisky led the drive that helped us win that game.
Yeah. So my another take on offense, how we get this offense moving, is get Trubisky out of the pocket, roll him out, give him more time because he's going to need more time. And then once you establish that offense, but he cannot stay in that pocket and run for his life. I mean, how many years is that going to take, Sanders? Look how long Ben sustained all those sacks, extending the plays. It's great to extend the play, but you extend the play for a reason because you want to advance the ball, not because for any other reason. You extend the plays to make plays, right?
Right.
And this is where it's not working. It kind of is because we got to win. All right. If we lose that game on a field goal and we lose by 1 point, then everything's off the table. Then why this isn't working? We got to do this. We got to do that. But nobody's talking about it because we won. We still need to talk about it. You cannot just have him drop back in the pocket and look for a receiver because there's no time. They're not adjusting to the defensive scheme of play. If you guys constantly rushing in there, dump the ball off to the tight end, dump it off to the running back, throw a screen, do a bubble screen. Do what you can to eliminate some of that pressure so that when you go back into the pocket, they don't know if you're going to do a screen or you're going to go downfield. Receivers are getting separation. However, the quarterback does not have enough time to throw the ball down the field. Just like the old song. It just keeps on playing and playing and playing. And the Steelers have to do something up top. And I'm talking about the coaches to somehow organize an offensive scheme to give the quarterback more time, because I tell you what, we didn't do it with our offensive line last year. We spent $70 million to revamp the all line this year, and it's still getting the same results. And what is that called, Sanders? Insanity? When you keep on doing something over and over the same way, expect different outcome. That's insanity. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have to open up that offense, and none of this tomfoolery, trickery shit that, you're double reverse and, flea flicker, all this stuff. Come on, you got to get the guys moving, get them moving on the other side of the ball, not in your backfield where things can go wrong with fumbles or loss of yards. You got to advance down the field. You got to roll out. You got to give that quarterback who has mobility at this time to use it to his advantage.
I agree 100%. Now we digested the whole aspect of Mitch Trubisky over here. Starting for the Steelers, and I believe it's the right choice to let Trubisky start. Yep, 100%. I think Trubisky needs to be the man right now. Still, like I said, no matter which way you guys look at it, A, B, C, D, it's a rebuilding year. So get over it. Trubisky starts. Trubisky's the man. Rest that rookie. Let him learn. Let him get better. Let him come in and let him start doing damage when he comes in. Now, is there a game that's going to come down the line where Mitch Trubisky just does horrible and you throw him in? Do what you got to do. But right now, Mitch didn't play bad enough to make us lose. So keep him in. Keep him in. You got a big game coming up there, and I think he'll do well. But now, we talked about Trubisky. Now, James, let me ask you a little bit about something. You guys also chime in the board. Make sure you check us out there. Check out our website, too, www.steelernationlive.net. Go there, check out some of the shows we did. A lot of things there. We're streaming live, like we said, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. Live streaming here. Check us out. Now, the receiving core. Let's talk a little bit about the receiving core for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought they did a decent game. There wasn't a lot of catches by anybody, but like I said, you also had Mitch Trubisky, who had his hands tied behind his back by the offensive play calling. Now, Mitch was also probably told repeatedly, don't lose the game. Don't lose the game. Don't lose the game. Go out there. Don't lose the game. If it's a guy that's next to another guy, just throw it somewhere else. So, and this is what you got. You got a guy who missed wide open receivers, a talented young receiver like Pickens, nothing. One catch.
Yeah.
1 or 2 catches.
Had a couple targets too. So
The most productive Claypool was like you said,
rushing. I think he had 63 yards on the ground.
Right. Oh, I think it was 63 or I think it was 30 something. But the fact is, that was the most productivity he had. It wasn't receiving. And then you had to do an acrobatic catch by Deontay Johnson on the sideline for something that was memorable for him that day. But the thing about it is, and the only person who actually caught a touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers was the running back,
Najee Harris, who,
Right.
who ended up leaving the game with an ankle injury. He was tackled awkwardly, and it wasn't like he was producing for yards anyways. I mean, he could have went back in the game, but, smartly, he did not. Jalen Warren stepped up admirably, and he's going to be something to deal with, this Jalen Warren. I mean, undrafted free agent. The Steelers signed him.
Willie Parker.
Yeah. Another one.
Yeah.
Fast Willie Parker. Willie, if you're out there listening, calling the show, brother, we need you back on.
Yeah. Willie Parker's been on the show before, guys. So,
Oh, yeah.
so believe me. And the thing about it is that this guy's he's a young, talented back. And I think that he will do well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And at least adding to giving spells to Najee, because as we already know, Najee is already getting banged up, which kind of bothers me because I love Najee. I think Najee's a great physical, phenomenal, generational back. But the thing is, he's coming at a time when our line is just horrific. So what do you do for a kid like that? You look at the New York Giants with their young back.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley,
Yeah.
how they pretty much destroyed him. And now if you look this year with a new vamped up O-line from New York Football Giants, that he had a great game. I think he had almost 200 yards rushing. He had a touchdown and a bunch of receptions out of the backfield like his Penn State days. So, I mean, it can happen, but when is enough? I mean, he's the workhorse for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris. They didn't draft him to sit on the bench. He came in and, if we had offensive line, this kid, we're talking MVP numbers. I mean, even with the O-line we had last year and the way the Pittsburgh Steelers offense was mediocre at best, he still produced when he had to produce. And it's unfortunate that he was working 200% when he should be working 100%. And we got to get that O-line proficient in blocking, run blocking, pass blocking, whatever you got to do to protect your players. And
well, the scary thing was about it in this game, guys. I don't know if you agree. Right on the board as well. We can call in the show 585-210-3917. The thing about it is that they actually didn't pass block that bad in this game. The pass blocking wasn't bad. It was the run blocking was horrendous.
And I'll tell you why. Yes, the pass blocking was better. And if you could look at it half empty, the glass half empty, half full, Sanders. But when you have a quarterback that's mobile, like Trubisky is, okay, you kind of assume that he has more time back there because the line is blocked. Not at all. It's just the style of play when you're expecting number 7 back there in the backfield to stand there, extend plays, and throw the ball downfield, either nobody or interception. When you got Trubisky, it seems like the O-line is giving him more time, but he's just running around there for his life. So, but I don't want to take too much away from the offensive line. But yeah, I mean, rest assured, it seems like last season. It's just that there's a different quarterback. Names have changed. Protect the innocent back there. You know what I'm saying? Even if Ben was back there for this game, Pittsburgh still wins the game. I'll tell you that right now. They still win the game. And it wouldn't have come down to a 0 time on the clock blocked field goal instead of an overtime. I think Pittsburgh would have ran that ball and ran the clock out. And another thing about Mitch Trubisky that we're not talking about, he is a clock manager. He's a game manager. Okay, this is something that we need. And because of that skill set that he has, he was able to play efficient, like you said, Sanders, and the offensive line did give him more time. However, because he's a game manager, he knows how to work that clock, and he knows what plays to call, and he knows how to work the offense. And that's a great attribute to have. And it's just so frustrating, Sanders, when we do not have that atypical offensive line to get the job done that we should. We should be crushing teams. We have, you know, I'm a little biased, but we have enough weapons on that team where we can go, I don't know, maybe 13-3 or 13-4, or I mean something real ridiculous, because we have the talent, we have the coaching. It's just when you take that element of the offensive line out of the topic, or you put them in there because they're not doing so good, you get the results that we're beginning. And because of the offensive line not doing so good, you got that vanilla offense, and you have to, grow off of that. Yeah, it's one game, first game of the season. We can build off that. Let's focus on that. Positive. Let's positively speak about that. But when you get to what, Saturday, we get to what, the third or fourth game, and we still seeing the same results, then what? What do we do?
Yeah, 100% true. That's what it's all about. It's the fact of trying to get to that next level for the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to stay healthy on top of it. And speaking of health, we're gonna also touch base on the plethora of injuries that's going on in Pittsburgh. And number one, James, we're gonna start with our boy TJ Watt.
Yes.
I mean, a pec injury, and we all thought it was all for the year.
But
as we're told now, it's a different story, James.
Yeah. First was a year, because, when you're on TV and, if you're a good lip reader, you knew right from the get-go that what TJ Watt was saying, that I tore my pec, and people see that, and, they become doctors, and everybody knows everything, about pectoral muscles and tears and all this stuff. Yep, he's done for the year. And then I didn't even have an MRI, any x-ray, but because he said TJ Watt's not a doctor, even though he knows injuries, he knows his body better than anybody. But by just the lip reading and people seeing that he said he tore his pec, always, always thinking the worst. And then it got down to, okay, he's going to be out. And because this player had that injury, and they're all different. They all heal differently. And he still is a growing boy, and he does eat his vegetables. And so now we're looking at, optimistically, the best case scenario, folks, is 4 weeks. I don't see it happening. I see after 4 weeks he starts resuming play again. And I would have to safely say, if that's the case, best case scenario, 6 weeks he'll be playing. And I can't tell you off the top of my head we're playing the 6 week. I think we have a 7-week bye. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, 7 or 9. But if that's the case, if he's ready to come back in 6, we have a 7-week bye. I think we won't see him till week 8, just to be on the safe side. And also Najee Harris, another ankle injury. He was tackled awkwardly, twisted, turned it, and it was the same foot, I do believe, that he injured in training camp. But sources to Steeler Nation Live, close to Steeler Nation Live, have confirmed that Najee will be playing Sunday at home at Acrisure Stadium versus the New England Patriots. Will he start? Doubtful. Jalen Warren will take the lead, and we're going to toss Najee in there here and there just to get a feel of his foot. And depending on how Jalen Warren is and dependability on the game, if Najee is needed and called, that he will take more snaps than expected. But if Jalen Warren's doing a good job early in the season, no need to have Najee in there and to lose him for the rest of the season. Also, Levi Wallace, corner, ankle injury, spillane, eye injury. I guess, I don't know, little Three Stooges action out there. He took one in the eye. Alex Highsmith, undisclosed injury, but he did return to the game. Cam Hayward, same thing, undisclosed injury. He was out, came back in. DeMarvin Leal, undisclosed injury. He didn't return to the game. Mason Cole, center, he ankle, left the game, came back in, but he still hasn't practiced either. So all these players, I do expect out of all those, like I said, Najee Harris will take some snaps. Hayward will be out there. Highsmith will be out there. And as far as the other players, I'm not 100% sure. So, watch pregame and just see how accurate we are and what's going on with the rest of that. But when you look at the stats, the injury report, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, mediocre at best, we still come out with a victory. Yes, we want a victory. Let's build from this victory, Sanders. Folks at home, call in 585-210-3917. That's 585-210-3917. We want your take on what's going on. We got a lot of listeners out there. They're chiming in. They're at the chat board. They're typing in. We love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Don't be shy. Sanders won't bite.
Let me ask you guys something as well. Now, the fact is, we all know with the Steelers, they also have the special team side of the ball. Now, the special team side of the ball for the Steelers, and as we discussed offline,
Presley Harvin, yes, 8 punts. And that's another statistic that I didn't bring up earlier. You look at the team is punting 8 times. How are they going to possibly win this game? They don't have the ball at all. And besides that pick 6, I mean, that's only a touchdown. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can't expect your defense to go out balls to the wall for 30 minutes and come back after halftime and expect the same result. You got to change that up. Just, hey, if it's working in halftime, you still have to change things up in the second half and how I'm going to rest my defenders and still keep us in the ball game. Because if you go out second half the way you started the game, you're going to fade away. And this is what Cincinnati did to take advantage of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's how they almost won this game. Like I said, Trubisky did what he had to do to win the game, didn't turn the ball over, but still they were in the game. I mean, it's all about ball control.
Yeah.
Exactly. And controlling the game. And if you have the ball for almost 60 minutes, more than likely you're going to win that game. And since you almost won that game, if you look, like I said earlier, statistically, all the plays they did, no penalties. However, they gave up 7 sacks and 5 turnovers. And you're not going to win too many games like that, Sanders, at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Steelers almost did that. This is almost in comparison to when they played the San Francisco 49ers. I think it was 2019 or so. When they also had Rudolph as the quarterback. When Rudolph went out there, they had 5 turnovers, fumble snaps, Minka hitting their running back. I remember he fumbling, and it was the 5 turnovers the Steelers defense got on week 1 of the NFL season, and we lost. And this was almost a mirror image of that game where the Steelers almost lost. Well, this time, a young, inexperienced quarterback was at the helm again for the Pittsburgh Steelers with that many turnovers. And the fact is, I believe the Steelers can only get better from this. I believe this is a learning lesson, hopefully, and it will get better. But one thing I got to ask you guys out here looking at the show today, like I said, I'll put the number up in a minute for you guys to call in. What do you think? Is it too early for Minka MVP? James, what do you think?
Well, for game 1, he's definitely MVP. I mean, pick 6. He had 14 tackles. He blocked the potential game-winning field goal to send it in overtime. Absolutely game ball, game 1. As far as for the year, too soon, Sanders. Too soon. I like your enthusiasm, but I tell you what, it's only one game. And no, we're not going to the Super Bowl just yet. So all you fans out there who are not Pittsburgh Steelers fans, or somebody who's not a Steeler fan and their team won, I guarantee you they're saying we're going to the Super Bowl. It's one game, folks. One game.
Yeah, but I will say Minka is clicking on all cylinders. Minka he looks like he's trying to be an all caliber safety. And the fact about it is, Minka was actually passed over in the rankings by other safeties in the league, and that kind of burned Minka. So now I believe this year, starting off, you just seen that. You're gonna see some great things coming from Minka this year. This guy right now, he has proven himself to be a ball hawk. He's proven himself to be a run defender. He's proven himself to be a guy that can make plays, James, that can turn a game around for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Definitely a game changer. And we all know who our game changer was in the past. That number 43, Troy Polamalu. I mean, it's just hilarious. I mean, this guy would go out there every play, try to knock your head off. And when he did, he would apologize. I'm sorry. And you get up and you do it again. I mean, that's the kind of player he is. And Minka is just trying to show the NFL and the rest of the teams, especially the Miami Dolphins, what they gave up, what they lost. and what the Pittsburgh Steelers gained. And before I forget, Sanders, let me ask you this, and folks at home, all right, call in 585-210-3917. I know it's one game, but out of all the games and the teams you've seen so far, what teams do you think, after one, I know it's only one game, with how they played game one, what team do you think, Sanders, is destined to the Super Bowl right now?
Off of game one?
Off of game one.
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Yep.
Yeah.
What about the NFC?
I don't I didn't really see too many dominant teams from the NFC.
No. I would have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles on the NFC right now.
You
An
think the
Eagle?
Eagles?
An Eagles team. I mean,
They
Jalen
almost-
Hurts,
They almost lost.
but still, out of all those NFC teams, look at the team that went to the Super Bowl and won it from the NFC. They got their asses handed to them by the Buffalo Bills. Now, the reason why I say it's only one game kind of sets the stage for the rest of the season. You kind of know what direction you're going into. And to win the Super Bowl, to win your division, to win most games, you have to be on point, all facets of the game, offense, defense, special teams. And you said it, Sanders, right now after game one, and it's not a fluke because the Buffalo Bills should have been in the Super Bowl last year. I know a lot of fans out there are like, oh, Jesus, Buffalo Bills. But the way they play on all facets of the team, let's start out with the coaching staff. Amazing coaching staff. Okay. You have a leader in Josh Allen. You have an extremely, extremely well-balanced running attack. They got a solid offensive line. They got many, many wide receivers. Stephon Diggs. I mean, a couple other guys that are out there.
Davis,
Davis,
yeah.
Gabriel Davis, and I want to say Johnson. I could be wrong.
They had a nice tight end too, actually.
Yep. Knox. So offensively, they're solid. Defense, solid as well. I mean, there's not one guy in the Buffalo Bills defense that you would not want on your team. And the special teams. Let's not get away from the special teams. Solid special teams. You got a team like that who carries over from the season before. And they went into game one and they handled the Super Bowl champions, even though I don't believe they should have been there to begin with, but they were. And so when you go and Buffalo traveled West Coast and destroyed them, the Super Bowl champions in their home field destroyed with a complete solid team. We're on our way, but we just need to keep on. Buffalo's there. They just have to play it out and see how the chips fall at the end of the season. But right now, when you carry over from one season, that's why I'm saying this, you carry over from last season, and not only are you continuing what you set out to do, you're doing it better. And I'm not just talking squeaking by. This team is solid. Josh Allen has matured beyond belief. Buffalo Bills are the team right now that I'd be scared of. Even the Kansas City Chiefs. Look at what they did. Look at what Mahomes did. He threw 5 touchdowns last week. He threw more touchdowns than some teams even did in a whole game. And I have to do this note for all you Cowboy fans out there. The only team who did not score a touchdown, game one. I have to throw that out there. And you got guys like Mahomes, Tyreek Hill less, and they still produce. Mahomes still throws 5 touchdowns. I mean, he's got a lot of targets now. He's got Juju to throw to. He's got Kelsey. They got a good running tag. But if there's any team that can give Buffalo competition in the AFC, that would have to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's not lose sight on the Titans either. They're a tough, scrappy team. And a lot of talk, Sanders, about the Baltimore Ravens. No. Nope.
You don't see it?
Nope, I don't see it. Lamar Jackson just turned down an exclusive contract. Almost as good as Deshaun Watson's contract. And he turned it down. Wow. Now, what does that tell you, Sanders? Does that tell you that, I mean, it was over $300 million contract. I think it was only $190 guaranteed $1 million. Like, geez, how am I going to live off of that? You know what I mean? And he turns it down. Why? Why do you think he would turn that down, Sanders?
I don't know, because I wouldn't
No.
have.
I give you $50 in Burger King coupons. You wouldn't turn that down.
You got that right.
Oh, Lord.
But the thing about it is, in saying that, the fact is, Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be playing the Buffalo Bills this year. That's going to be a real test for the Steelers. If the Steelers can mount that what they're trying to get through now, with the fighting of trying to open up things for Mitch Trubisky, finding holes for our running back, Najee and Jalen. Like I said, it could be a phenomenal year for the Steelers. But now you got, like we talked about earlier, we got other teams out there. We got a couple more things we got to get through before the end of the show. But we talked about one thing. I don't know if you guys realize out there, but the Dallas Cowboys are in crap straits right now. And if you realize, and guess who they're reaching for?
Yeah.
They're reaching Big Ben, a Cowboy. Can you believe it?
And all the Cowboy fans out there are like, oh, man, yes, we hope we get Ben. The same clowns who are saying what a crappy quarterback he was.
Right.
And when he played for Pittsburgh. So now it's like, oh, my goodness. What do we do?
Yeah,
what do we do?
Dak is supposed to be out. What is it? 4 to
6 weeks. Yeah. 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep. And Jerry Jones, when asked, he said, well, and he's saying that right now, maybe to be quiet. He's saying, well, right now they couldn't afford to put him up to snuff. They didn't have enough time to put up to snuff, and it'd be too much money just to get a guy who's going to be out there. So they're going to stick with what they have now, and Cooper Rush, and whoever they have backing him up, and Will Grier as well. So right now the Cowboys are in that perplexing type right now. A lot of things going on, but Big Ben, wearing the blue. What?
No, that'll never happen. No, that they can't give him enough money, and they're. I guess the Cowboys are in talks with Uncle Rico.
Uncle
Rico. I mean, he's got a great arm. Brucey from The Longest Yard. I guess he's, they're talking to him too, just as long as he doesn't eat all that popcorn. And it's just a lot of things going on with the Dallas Cowboys. And if you really think about it, their offensive line is garbage. Their running attack is garbage. Even with Dak Prescott in there as quarterback, they were garbage. So anything that they get is probably going to be an improvement. And it's just it's ridiculous how these teams are.
Well, I can't see Big Ben right now. The odds of Big Ben coming back and possibly playing in the NFL or signing with the Cowboys right now is 50-1 odds on some of the websites out there. And like I said, Big Ben, he hasn't played since 2021. He threw for 3,740 yards and 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Now, a lot of that, of course, we all know that was later on in the year when all the debacle came down, where the games weren't the way they were going early on. And you know what? Can Ben add that added effect to a young team like that? And why would Ben, all these years, why would you want to come back? But we say the same thing about Tom Brady, who's not only coming back, but coming back and being effective.
Right. No matter what, Tom Brady's Tom Brady. I don't care how you slice it, how you dice it, how you paint it up, how you dress it up. Tom Brady, no matter how much you hate this guy, he is the GOAT. Prove me wrong. I mean, every team he's been on, it's been gold. It just is, as much as it pains me to say this. I mean, yes, he's had a lot of help down the years with referees and in calls and stuff like that, but you can't, it's all out there. You cannot take anything away from this guy, because he has shown and he has proved what he can do, especially all those years with the Patriots. And guess who's coming to town on Sunday? New England Patriots and Pittsburgh Steelers, folks. 1:00, Acrisure Stadium. We are 2-point underdogs, but do not fret, folks. Do not be upset. It doesn't matter, because I'll tell you why. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 10-4 at home when they're the underdogs. And yeah, they put a whooping on us. The past 5 times we played the Patriots, we are 1-4. And this is going to be, if you're like one of those crazy trivia stat guys or girls at home, this is going to be the first game that the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots play without either Ben Roethlisberger or Tom Brady going at it against each other. Times are changing.
Yeah.
Times are changing. And right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the last 4-5 times we played, they've outscored us 133-77. So not a lot of offense there on our part, but there are keys to this factor, Sanders. And what do you think the factors are? How we're going to win this game?
Well, it's going to start just like we said before. The New England Patriots have a banged up quarterback in Matt Jones. And if he starts, the Steelers have to do the same thing they did to Cincinnati. It has to start up front. Now, if that front starts to get pressure, and I mean heavy pressure, it is going to lead to turnovers. The Steelers got to be mindful of that. The turnovers will lead to other things, but the fact is we have to be able to take advantage of it. And if the Steelers can open up, like we said, keep it, Miss Trubisky. Keep the cuffs off of Trubisky. Let Trubisky play. Let Trubisky do what he can do. The added dimension, which you got him for, let Trubisky open up his game, and then you can go from there. If you give him the reins to open up and throw the ball all over the place, if he makes turnovers then and there, then you could probably go down the line and figure out whether, is Trubisky going to be the guy we're going to start the next game. And if so, then you keep him there. But you can't handcuff him and then sit there and say, well, we don't know if he's going to be the man, or I don't know if they're actually saying that, but the fans are. Trubisky was horrible in this game. But like I told you, Trubisky did what they paid him for. Control the game, don't turn ball over, and give us a chance. And he did everything I just said in this game versus Cincinnati. And I believe he could do the same thing against the New England Patriots. And I believe the Steelers can win this game. I'm looking for a score, hopefully, of 24-10. I know we're not going to go on no barrage of points, but I can see the Steelers winning this 24-10 over the New England Patriots in Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh.
You know what? I'm going to give my score first, and I'm going to tell you why. And I think we're on the same wavelength there, Sanders. You said 24-10. I'm saying 24-13. I'm going to give him that extra field goal because I'm nice. But what we need more out of Trubisky is not a game manager, but a clock manager. Keep the offense out on the field, run the ball, do effective plays. Don't air it out just to air it out, only if you can and only if it's accessible. Okay. Keep our players on there. Let the defense rest. That's a recipe for success right there, because the way that the defense is going to come out there like gangbusters, like get the Bengals. And every time the Pittsburgh Steelers put pressure on opposing quarterbacks, we usually win games. It's what happens is down the road, the second half is when Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't try to lose the game. Okay. You cannot win games like that. You have to try and win the game. If you try not to lose it, more than likely you're going to lose it. Now, we had the ball 5 times off of turnovers. We didn't score many points off of that. You cannot win games on field goals. I don't care who you're playing. And, I always say, Sanders, a field goal is 3 points towards a loss. When you're inside, not the red zone primarily, but when you're in first and goal, you need to come up with 7. 3 is not going to cut it against anybody. And if you get yourself ahead of the game, you don't have to rely so much on your defense. You control the ball offensively, control the game clock, keep their offense off. If they're not on there, a high chance they're not going to score. It's very hard to get a pick 6 or a fumble 6 defensively. So that's a rarity in the NFL. So if we keep our offense on the field, keep theirs off, but when we're on there, that way our defense be rested up to attack and, to create havoc, turnovers, loss of yardage, special teams for Pittsburgh Steelers, Presley Harvin. I mean, he had a great game. Unfortunately, he had to utilize his leg more than often. He had a couple punts over 60 yards. He averaged almost 49 yards a punt, 8 punts, and that's amazing because compared to last year, I think he was only doing 43 or 44 yards a punt. So that's field position. That's huge in the NFL. If you can set those guys back and not give them great field position to possibly score field goals or touchdowns, that's a win right there. And you're more likely going to win more games that way. So with that being said, the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have to do anything fancy, but they do have to do something different on offense. And they have to start clicking because game 1's in the books, game 1's over. You can't keep on saying that 2, 3, 4 down the line. Yeah, well, we got the job done. No, you have to do more than getting the job done. And folks at home, Pittsburgh Steelers going to win the game 24-13. And folks, call in. What do you We want to hear from you. 585-210-3917. Phone lines are now open. Give us a shout.
And guys, also, we wanted to touch base on some other things that happened out there. Now, like we said, game one for the Pittsburgh Steelers was huge, James. The Steelers were winning. They were doing things great. They had things on the ball. But one of the things the Steelers were winning at, and they were winning in different arenas as well, is a big matchup, James. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about
this. This is a boxing match between Adrian Peterson and our own Le'Veon Bell, former Pittsburgh Steeler. And what this was, it was a charity fight. It wasn't like they hate each other. I'm going to kick your ass and I'm going to fight you. Let's do it in the ring kind of deal. This was legit. Now, you got Le'Veon in the black and gold and the white. Le'Veon goes in his corner. And Adrian Peterson gets up, doesn't know who he is, where he's at. Match is over. Le'Veon Bell is the winner. 5-round TKO. They called it a knockout. I don't know how it's a knockout. Guy got up, but it was a TKO officially. They had a five-round bout. They raised a lot of money and awareness to whatever they were doing. And Adrian Peterson in the league, Sanders, 23 years in the NFL. He wants to still play football.
I still
can't box, but he wants to play football. And Le'Veon Bell, total opposite. I'm done with football. That's behind me, he says. And I have a future in boxing, which not saying much. You got one good shot at an Adrian Peterson, who's a 23-year veteran of the NFL. I mean, you get in a ring with some of these professional, Sanders. It's not like you're trying to avoid a tackle or catch a ball out of the backfield. These guys do this stuff for a living. And hey, yeah, you did pretty good.
Well, I will say this. Both of those guys are still in phenomenal shape.
Oh, not as good as you, Sanders.
Yeah, that's true. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the thing about it is that both of these guys, they know how to win. And the great thing about it was that they shook hands after the fight, and they were all chummy and all that because it was for a great cause.
Right, like I said, it wasn't your typical. You got your rivalry, and whether it's a defensive back or a wide receiver, we see fights all the time in the NFL. It wasn't that. Had nothing to do with stature on the football field. They weren't fighting who's the best running back and who's better than who. Just a couple guys who want to raise some money for some charity, have some little something different in their lives. They want to spice it up a little bit. Let's slap each other around. I don't know. I'd rather go out and have a couple drinks and some dinner. You know what I mean? But hey, that's what they wanted to do. They're athletes. They are athletes, and phenomenal athletes at that. Like you said, chiseled bodies. Look at those guys.
Yeah.
And it was, if that's what they want to do it. But I think Le'Veon Bell might have a false sense of boxing capabilities because, I don't know, he won a fight.
But it was good. It was good though.
Punch another.
I got to give it to Le'Veon Bell. He went out there. He did it. He won on a week, of course, when the Steelers are winning out there as well. And hopefully we hope to see the Steelers winning next week as well. This Sunday coming up versus the New England Patriots. Yeah. And we got a huge game. This is a special Thursday night edition. We usually on Tuesdays from 6 to 7, but this is a Thursday night. So we're coming at you live right before the game. And James, I want to get your thoughts on this game coming this Thursday night.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's good. If you love football, folks, this is a game to watch. If you don't love football and you want to learn, this is the game to watch. You got two high-powered offenses. Defenses, great as well. You have Mahomes on one side, and you got that other kid from I almost said San Diego.
The Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers. I mean, this kid can throw the.
Is it Hebert or Herbert or whatever?
Hubert, Humperdinck. Hubert, Humperdinck. He can throw the ball. He can sling it around too. He's been in the league, not that long. And this is a West Coast division matchup, almost like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Bengals. Because when you play inside your division, it doesn't matter what your record is. Slate's clean, 0-0. Gloves come off. And this is going to be a fantastic night. Unfortunately, I think the Chiefs are going to squeak this one out. I really do. Because Keenan Allen is not playing for the Chargers. He's out, hamstring. And how do I know this? He's on my fantasy team. Am I happy? Absolutely not. But I do have Herbert throwing the ball. Hubert Humperdinck. He's back there slinging the ball around. I don't care. And, in fact, I hope they're behind because he's got to throw the ball more. But I see a high-scoring game here, Sandra. I think these guys are going to duke it out. It's going to be like one of those, heavyweight, fights where the guys just get in the center ring and they just freaking start slugging at each other. And it's going to – and whoever lasts longest, they're going to win the game, obviously. I'm thinking 47-45 Chiefs. I'm going over. This is huge. This is going to be an offensive showdown tonight. 47-45. And I think the Chiefs win it on a last-second field goal. I think the Chargers will be winning it 45-44. And they kick that field goal. 47-45 the Chiefs.
Wow. Talk about defense, huh?
No defense.
Yeah,
lack thereof. It's almost like an all-star game.
Yeah, that sounds about right. These two clubs right here, like I said, they're known for not playing defense, and it's going to happen again tonight. I agree with you as well. You got Mahomes who's going to be throwing the ball, and when he gets on fire, especially against a team that has nothing for defense. And I believe they do have some added to their defense as well. But the fact is, I still see Mahomes being Mahomes and probably getting another 4 to 5 touchdown game. So I can see that. And I do like the young kid for the Chargers, their quarterback, a young guy. This guy's he's going to be a long time quarterback out there for the Chargers, and he's going to be out there around for a while. And I see a score of this game. It's going to be a high-scoring game, like you said, but I see a different score. I was seeing like a 30-33 game, but a lot of the points are going to be racked up later in the second half. But Mahomes will be chugging like he does. And if you got him on your fantasy, Mahomes will be the man, and he's going to do it tonight. I could see a huge win for them. The Chiefs go up to 2-0, and hopefully your very own Pittsburgh Steelers here will do the same on Sunday at 1 p.m. Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, James.
Yeah, I hear it. It's you know what? It's if you got nothing going on tonight, you like football, tonight's going to be a great match to watch. And Sunday at 1 o'clock, Acrisure Stadium, that's going to be a great game to watch too. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, Roethlisberger-less and Brady-less, it's still going to be a very exciting game to watch. And like I said, Sanders, I really hope the Pittsburgh Steelers come out with some different kind of offensive scheme, not that tomfoolery shenanigans shit where, you just throw the ball around there. Something you could build up on, because you could throw those plays in any game. You want to build something. You want to have some kind of offensive character. This is a new quarterback coming in. It's his team now. Ben is gone. Time to move on and time to get away from that just getting by kind of offense, that vanilla offense. You got to do something different. You got to produce more. You know what? You get to make an omelet, Sanders, some eggs need to be broken, and you just got to do certain things out of the norm to try, you got to try new things. And I think that's the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers are stagnant on offense, is because they have this scheme and it's just like, it's going to work. It's going to work. And the more they think they do it all the time, it's going to work. You got to change the channel. It's not working. It has been working for years. You got to open up that offense. Ben couldn't do it. He can roll out. We have a quarterback that can roll out and make things happen. Let's do it. Let it happen. Stop running Ben Roethlisberger's offense. It's Mitch Trubisky time. Let's go.
Hey, guys, like we said, another edition of Steeler Nation Live in the books. Another great show here by your boy Sanders Tisdale.
James Owen.
And guys, we appreciate you guys checking us out here on Steeler Nation Live. There's a lot going on. Make sure that you guys stay tuned next week.
Go to that website, www.steelernationlive.net. Check us out, YouTube, everywhere.
It's all there.
It's there.
And we'll be back next week, regular time, Tuesday, 6 to 7. Don't miss us. Steeler Nation Live.